right, so here's method number 2 to getting started in a room. This is really useful if you've got an area or working in a room. One, if you're by yourself, you've got a really long run, you've got difficult drying conditions, where if you do the pour the puddle method and then try to get everything cut in, get back, start your snow plow, and that edge starts setting up on you, this will prevent all that. So some people do this with tape, and what we're going to do here, I call this a dry line method. So instead of pouring out a big puddle, we're just going to pour a little bit out here. I'm going to take my cut-in pad, and again, please pretend with me. We got kitchen cabinets, all kinds of stuff here along this open wall. We're just going to pour a little bit out here, do all our cutting in, and then I'm going to pull a dry line. I'm not going to leave a puddle at all. I'm not going to cut in along my open wall up here. Some people will do this with tape, but I prefer doing it just with what we typically call the dry line method, and that's I'm going to take my cut-in pad and I'm going to draw it down a board seam, or I'm at least going to try to follow the grain as much as I can. Kind of depends on how much I get poured out. The reason I don't like even using the tape in a situation like this is if I don't get back to the tape and get it pulled quick enough, I can have a little bit of a high ridge right there where the finish sits against the tape, and I don't want that either. I actually want something that kind of gradually slopes down to the rest of the floor so that when we come back and then pour our finish back into this area, start our snow plow right away, I've got kind of a little ramp that it's going up, and I've got a really nice ease transition area and not a real hard shoulder that it's sitting on caused by this tape. But we'll kind of show both methods to start, and we'll go from there. So again, I just want to pour a little bit of finish out, right? I'm going to use my cut-in pad. Go ahead and get next to my end wall. I can pull it down, underneath my cabinets or whatever I'm trying to cut in here. And this just gives me a little more breathing space then, and I don't have to feel so rushed when it's time to come do the main part of the floor, that I've got to get back to it right away, and if I don't, I know that line is going to start setting up from my puddle, and then I may have another issue there. So even if I do tape on the floor, I'm a little bit careful in just pulling my cut-in pad down there, and then again, just making sure I've got everything covered in a nice wetted out coat. Then I'm going to pour a little bit more out. Again, get it spread out with my cut-in pad, cut in underneath my cabinets, wherever I have to. So you'll see how this really lets you just maintain control over your whole cut-in process. I don't feel pressured at all to, oh man, I got to get this all cut in. My puddle's going to start setting up, or I got to go move the puddle over a little bit before it starts setting up. And this is going to dry really quick. So by the time I do 1 or 2 rooms, this is going to be ready to go. I can jump right back into this, pour my puddle out a little bit away from this, wet out my T-bar in that new puddle, and go to town. So this is the second way that you can start your cutting in. We'll call it the dry line method. Again, I believe it's a great one that you might have to use from time to time if you've got a super long room that has a southern exposure, and there's no way, even if you got a couple people doing the cutting in, that you're not going to be able to get cut in and back to your snow plow before that line starts setting up, or that edge of your puddle. This way I'm not pressured. I feel total control over this. I'm building that little ramp down. Again, you could do tape if you want. I would go pull the tape right now. But a great method that might get you out of a tight spot or help you put down a much better coat of finish when you got some difficult conditions.